Tada. Okay, last session we are discussing life cycle of the object. No? And in the life cycle of the object, I was stressing more on one stage, which was that finalization. Understood? We know the life cycle of the object, but in that I was stressing yesterday on finalization. So yesterday I was going with two topics. One is finalization. That's one of the stage in the life cycle of the object. And all together we discuss the life cycle of the object. Okay. So do you have any questions with that? Or just I'll summarize what we covered yesterday. So what is finalization now? It is a final task performed by a dereferenced object. It is a final task. Okay, means before it gets destroyed. Okay, that will be the final task performed by the dereferenced object before it gets destroyed. So then, apart from that, the finalization, we discussed what are the life cycle stages of an object. Life cycle of object. First one is instantiation. Java is beautifully supporting all this. Anybody can understand this. This life cycle, anybody can understand. So easily Java is supporting. Instantiation, then what? Initialization. And Java is giving very beautiful support for all this. In no language you get this kind of a support. Okay, in no language you get this kind of a support for programming. Instantiation, initialization, service, then finalization, then destruction. These are the five life cycle stages. So how does Java support instantiation with the help of new keyword? How does it support initialization with the help of constructor? So how does it support service with the help of method? Okay, how does it support finalization with the help of a method called as finalize? Understood? How does it support destruction? Implicit. We don't bother about this. So in Java we bother only about allocating memory but not destroying memory. So this is it. Now if you ask me what is instantiation? So instantiation is nothing but bringing code into existence and all that. But here I can say it is creating an object. We know creating an object is nothing but bringing code into existence. So explanation for this now. What is instantiation? Creating an object. Initialization means what? Initializing object level resources. You know what are object level resources now? A resource which is used by multiple methods in a class. Now what is service? Service is using performing some task repeatedly, I can say. Means using object level resource or local resource and performing some task and it can happen any number of times. So finalization is opposite of what? Initialization. It is releasing object level resources. Okay. Destruction is destroying an object. So in this life cycle, again to highlight, this happens only once, this happens only once, this happens n number of times, this happens only once, this happens only once. Understood? And instantiation means one object gets created only once. And initialization also happens only once. See how they have designed it. So brilliantly they are supporting it. Then service, n number of times. How many times you call the method, that many times it gets executed. Finalization, that also only once. Destruction, only once. A very neat support. So this is the kind of support we get in this language. No other language can give this support. Okay. And on top of giving such kind of brilliant support, it is user friendly. It's something like anybody can understand this. Understood? That simple they have done programming here. So are you clear with all these things now? Understood? Are you clear with all these topics? So see, your class can contain constructor or method or finalize. These are optional, but you have to decide whether it should have a constructor or whether it should have a method or whether it should have a finalize method. That's optional. I'm not saying it is mandatory. If at all you want to write a logic, now this is the support what it gives. See, most of the times you just hurry up in writing logic. That is your major problem. All you people know, you want to write logics immediately, which is quite impossible. Okay, you can write a good logic, okay, or highly reusable logic only when you understand the subject properly. And here understanding the subject is nothing but what? Understanding the class. The more clearly you understand how to write a class, the more better you can write your code here. So that is why I am not stressing on logics right now. We are completely stressing on seeing how to write a class. This concept holds good even in other object oriented languages also, like example C++, C# and all that. So in all languages they try to give the same support, but which language gives us more elegantly, user friendly is more important here. All languages try to do the same thing. Understood? C++, C# or so many object oriented languages are there. Okay, so that also try to give the same support, but Java does it in a very clear manner, which is very user friendly also to understand. Are you following all this now? Understood? So learn to write a class first, then you can write logics. You neglect, what do you neglect now? Writing class only you neglect. You think what is a class means? Class A is there, int I, int j, two variables are there, over. That's only a class. So that is why I say in colleges also you did the same mistake. You neglected the class to such an extent that forget college, now also you are struggling it hard to understand. Not then, now also you are struggling it hard to understand because you have neglected it to that extent. Understood now? So once you design a class, now see, if I design it, then I'll have something like this. I'll start using it. So once a class is designed, what is the advantage? Anybody can use it in any OS. That is the brilliant support we get. Now see this, if I say box B is equal to null, I'm just declaring a variable. See how many things happen in this line. B is equal to new box. So what all things happen in this line now? New memory is allocated. In that constructor gets executed with 3 arguments or with 3 parameters. The address of that object is given to B. A new memory got allocated. And next line, if I again say B is equal to null, that object becomes dereferenced. 3 lines, and you can see how many things are happening in these 3 lines now. So one side you neglect the class also, other side you neglect these 2 lines also. So when you are neglecting the basics, how will you further continue coding in Java now? And to understand these things only we have taken so much of time now. Okay, so it's not that everybody means even computer science people also, especially, they don't know this topic. What we have discussed now. You might be thinking I am from that branch, this branch, that is only an excuse. Okay, here when you learn a language now there are no branches. When you learn English language, is there anything like rule that only doctors can learn English or advocates can learn English? No. Similarly, when you are learning Java language, branch doesn't matter here. They are only your lame excuses. Fact is, computer science people also do not know how to design a class properly. Understood? They don't know how to use the object also. Both they don't know. Ask them, check them. Okay, do they know what is object? Do they know what is life cycle of an object? Do they know how to use the object? Nothing. Fact is that. So these are only lame excuses given by what? Others. Anybody who is having an interest in learning here, they can do this. Understood? So class object, we continue with this only. So still we go more deeper into this subject. Okay, it is intense. But anyway, by next 4 or 5 classes, you'll be perfect in designing classes. Okay, you'll know how to design a class very perfectly, very clearly you'll be able to design a class. So, but one data type will take so much of time. In the next data type, what you see, like subclass, abstract class and all that, okay, there also same members will come. So that time it will be easy for you to understand and you can learn it faster. One data type will take time. Once we complete one data type, the other data types are going to be very much simple also, similar also. But differences we'll see. I'm telling you there are similar also. At the same time there will be differences also. Okay, similarity you know now, but again we have to see what is difference between class, subclass and all that. That we'll see. Are you clear with this topic now? So there's just some FAQs which I'll give now, okay, which we covered based on yesterday's topics. Okay, some question and answers that will help you to clear all your doubts also now. Here, shall I clear all this now? Understood? Why do you use what? When do you use what? Using constructor is optional. Using finalize is optional. I'm not saying mandatory. If you want, use. Java gives this support to you. Some small question and answers we'll see, which will put the final nail to the coffin now. Means we'll understand what is an object now. This this table we discussed yesterday. This is clear now? Difference between constructor and finalize? Understood? It's fine. Then I told you yesterday also, calling finalize explicitly will never destroy the object, but it will only release the resource and makes the object useless. All these points we studied yesterday. Do you have any questions with this? No, or you can see here, if you have questions also it will be answered. Now see this, I put it in a simple question and answer style, which will clear all your concept. What is finalization? If you have that question, it is the final task which will be performed by an object before an object gets destroyed. Getting it done? Final task. Next, what is final task and which has to be performed by an object? If you have that question. Understood? If you have that question. Final task means releasing object level resources like database, file or socket connections. Any resource, and these are the three examples I am taking. There are plenty of resources. Clear? Then next, what is the support given by Java for doing finalization? What is the support? Finalize method, say I am putting brace, f is small. Okay, can be used for doing finalization, and it is a final predefined method which is present in class object. It is generally overridden in subclasses to release object level resources. In bracket I have written all classes in Java are subclass of object. Yes or no? Are you clear with this? Then next, what is the difference between object and method level resource? Correct? So the difference between object and method level resource. See, any resource, like example, like I'm telling you, database, file or socket connection, which is used in a single method of a class is called as method level resource. Method level resources are created with the help of local variables. Understood? Next, any resource which is used in multiple methods of a class are called as object level resource. Method level resources are created with, sorry, one second, I have to change this. Object level resources are created with the help of what? Instance variables. You got the difference from method level resources are created with the help of local variables. This one is created with the help of instance variables. Then next, can a developer explicitly destroy an object in Java? No, you cannot destroy. No, developer can never destroy the object in Java. It is the JVM bracket garbage collector which actually destroys the object implicitly. Okay, developer can only dereference or abandon an object in Java. You cannot destroy it. You can dereference or abandon it. More than that, you cannot do anything. Next, when does the garbage collector destroy the dereferenced object? Okay, when JVM finds there are too many dereferenced objects in the heap, then JVM will send the garbage collector to collect or destroy all the dereferenced or unused objects. Next question. What is garbage collector? If you have that question, it is a program. It's a program now which is implicitly executed by the JVM. So JVM is a big thing. It can handle many things. Okay, in that one of the program which is getting executed is garbage collector. So it is a program which is implicitly executed by the JVM when it finds there are too many dereferenced or unused objects in the heap. Why does GC destroy unused objects? Why does it destroy it? It's simple. GC means garbage collector. GC destroys the unused objects because it reclaims the memory so that the same memory can be used for some other object creations. Clear now? All your question and answers? Is it clear to you? Do you have any questions here? Clear? Okay. Do you have any questions here now? No? So we'll move to the next topic now. Okay. See, I'm not saying this topic is over. We have learned it theoretically. We have to put it into practical coding, which I will be doing it. You don't have to worry about this. We'll be seeing beautiful examples for this. Okay. Practically you'll see, and we'll be writing the code. But before I write the code, this minimum introduction of a class has to be provided. Otherwise, say, it becomes like your college style. In college, what you do? First line class, second line this only, third line this only, fourth line this only. Then when you compile, compilation error, look for semicolon. So we can't learn things like that. So due to that, I'm taking you in a logical manner. We are studying how to write a class very much technically, and what is the technical support given to you. Okay, this is a very tough subject to actually teach. We do it because of experience. Very tough subject. You go anywhere, nobody can teach a class like what I'm doing, you know. And in fact, the class is taught to you in a single day. What is class? Class is like this, over. Encapsulation also will be over in 2 days. You cannot means anything. OOPS concept in 2 days they'll finish. Class data type they'll finish in 1 day. You can't learn Java like this. Okay, it's a huge subject which has got around 50 years of experience, and that 50 years of experience you want to learn in 1 day, 2 days, it's not possible. Understood? It requires tremendous effort. At this one time, I'm going with all these stories. At the other side, you have to practice coding also. Without practicing, nothing can be done here. Okay. In fact, when I teach everything, it looks so simple for you. You will hardly find any difficulty here. Okay. Oh, it's like this. It's like this. Like one movie, your favorite movie will set 2 hours of video or 2 hours of class. Then what will you do? You'll go home. Okay. Don't do it. Clearly, I'm telling you. Later on, you'll find difficulty, because when I start coding, okay, that's when your hand should move. Later on, your hands will cripple. You can't code. Okay, they'll crumble. Means you can't code only. Your hands will not move on the which one? Keyboard. Practice from now itself, so that later stages you'll not find any difficulty. There I'll be unable to help. When I'm setting your basics so strong, there you should not complain. Understood? Huh? So practice is also important. And here branch is irrespective. I'm clearly telling you. You are from mechanical, electrical, electronics. I don't bother, because it's a language what you're learning. Don't think computer science people are aware of all this. Check out. You after 10 days you can teach computer science people what is Java. Just 10 more classes you wait. You'll be teaching computer science people. You might be from electronics or you might be from electrical, but you'll be having the ability to teach what? Computer science people. Understood? So actually fact is they don't know all that. Why they don't know? They have not put effort in learning it. That's it. Okay, and these people, when they are appointed as freshers, how will they code? They cannot code. When they can't code, what will they do? Company do? Put them into maintenance. So this is the fate of campus selected people. Campus selected people have this fate. Not getting selected in campus is blessing in disguise. You can decide your career, learn what you want, and get into that segment. First counseling class I take, no, that is what I tell. Okay, so these are the stories, and these stories some people can realize who have come from industry. Some people have not seen industry yet. Okay, you will see it later. That's it. So it's very difficult to bridge the gap, because there are two segments here. One, okay, you might be a student still in a college, or two, you might be a finished, means you have completed engineering and now looking for a job. Third, you might have been working in a company, you are not satisfied with your current job, and then you are looking for Java course. So we have a combination of all the three. So even though my message will be delivered to you, I don't know when it will be delivered. It might be instant or it might be at a later stage. But definitely the message will be very clear to you. One day you will realize this. Are you clear? Are you following now? So here languages, to learn language, what? Branches are not the barrier. Language does not have a barrier to learn. Clear? Okay. So we'll move to the next topic now. We'll move to the next topic. The next topic means one more member I'll add now. Okay, now you might question, how many members are there in the class? Yes, sir? There are too many members. Still some more members are there. So today we'll go with one more member called as blocks. Blocks. Your class can have a block also. Okay. Your class can have a block. So we'll see this. So till now what have we seen, and what are the members of your class? Instance variables, constructor, methods, finalize. So today I'll go with blocks. Clear? So means, see, you have seen blocks in methods also. Which one in main method? They are called as local blocks. But now I'm talking about blocks related to class level. Understood? And these blocks are called as instance blocks. So today I'll be teaching you instance blocks. So then we'll compare difference between instance block and local block. Actually in Java there are three types of blocks. Three blocks are there. Local block, static block, instance block. I've completed only local. Today I'll teach you instance. Very shortly I'll be covering one more block called as static blocks. Okay, there are three types of blocks. Blocks, there are three types. One, local block, which I've already completed, and today also I'll cover it. Second one is instance block. Today I'll be covering instance block. Third one is static block. So there are three types of block. Static block we'll see when we talk about static keyword. Clear this? So I'll be covering, moving to today, instance block. So one more member what we'll add into our classes now? Instance block. We can add it. So we'll see now how to add. See, this is an instance block. It does not have any name. See this, we are just putting two braces. So if you put two braces inside a class like this, it is called as a block. It is also one more member of the class. It does not have any name. So this is block, this is the block now. This is called as instance block. Okay, then see, what is this called as? This is called as a constructor now. So this is called as a constructor. Now see, void M1. Now what is this called as? Inside method. Inside M1 method. So this is method. Like this your class can have members. So this is a new member what we are seeing now. This is a new member what we are seeing. Are you clear with this? So when you write a class, you decide. If you want to write statements, get the point. If you want to write statements, statements are nothing but some group of statements which contain some logic. Understood? They are group of statements which contain some logic. If you want to write, you have to decide. Means when you write it in a class, you have to decide it either to write it in a block like this, or in a constructor, or in a method. Like this you have to write. Or you can write in finalize method also. That's optional. Okay. So when you write a class, you should be very clear which code you will write where. So anyway, we'll discuss that later. First I'll introduce what? Instance block. Because once you know the behavior of everything, then you can decide which one to write where. Till you know the behavior, how will you decide where to write now? Understood? So this is how you write it. And okay, just I'll write a very simple class now. Then we'll add more things. So your class right now is having what? Instance variable, one instance block, constructor and M1. So what is a constructor which has the same name as class name, no return type, parameters it can have or not, that's secondary. But it's a special method which has the same name as class name. Now what is a method which has a different name, which has a return type, which might have parameter list. Okay, so this is called as a method. Now what is a block? Nothing. See, no name, no return type, no parameter, nothing. So this is called as a block. Are you understanding what's a block now? So this is a valid member of a class. Now how do you execute that? Generally, how do you access the members of a class? Creating an object, accessing it with dot operator. Yes or no? Now how will you do it? You can never access the block because it does not have a name. It does not have a name. So how will you access it? Only when you, why do you give name to, what is the advantage of an identifier in your program? In all languages, why do they give support for identifiers? To use it. But blocks does not have a name. So what will happen now? You cannot call it by name. So it will be executed implicitly. The block will get executed implicitly. Okay, but when does it get executed implicitly? Question is that now. So it's very simple. To understand the flow now, see this PSVM hello H is equal to null. H is equal to, see here you simply run the program. Simply run the main method. Nothing will happen. Hello H is equal to null. Simply run this program. Object is not created. Nothing will happen. But next line I'll say H is equal to new hello. Can you predict what is the output? The output will be inside instance block, inside constructor. So the instance block gets executed implicitly. But when does it get executed? During the creation of object. It gets executed during the creation of object, and that too only once. Once the object is created now, see this is an hello object getting created now. So it will have all the members. It will have the constructor, it will have the M1, and it will have the block also. So it will get executed. So now both the things execute. The instance block also will execute, the constructor also will execute. You know what is, the statements are there now. So whatever is there, it will execute. When inside instance block is there now, that will execute. As well as the constructor gets executed. The instance block and the constructor both will get executed. So instance block also executes, constructor also executes. Now when does the instance block get executed? During the object creation. And only once. In one object the instance block executes only once. It's same like constructor. Hardly any difference. It also gets executed only once during the creation of every new object. You create one more object. In that object also you'll see what? Instance block and constructor getting executed. See, after creation of the object you can call what? You can call the methods. Calling method is your wish. Now what does method contain? Service logic. Service logic means business logic. Some logic it will be containing. Methods, it's up to you. Whenever you want, you go on calling. Nobody is going to stop you. Okay. But see, calling the method is optional. I will not call it. If interested, call, else leave. But now see, hello, h1 is equal to null. Again you run the program, nothing will happen. But you say h1 is equal to new hello. What will happen? Again, one more new memory gets allocated. Sorry, I had used h1 here. Okay, this is one address. One more new memory gets allocated, 250. That address is given to h1. But fine, when you say new, what has happened? New memory gets allocated. It is having instance block. It is having constructor. It is having m1 method. All the things it will have. Now what will happen? New memory allocates, and in this memory also instance block and constructor gets executed. Both will get executed. So instance block is almost having the same behavior like what? Constructor. It gets executed only once during the creation of object. Understood? Same way if I write hello, h2 is equal to null. h2 is equal to new hello. Again same story will happen. What will happen? New memory, here also will have instance block, here also will have constructor, here also will have m1. So new memory will allocate. Then what will happen? It will execute instance block and constructor here also. Like this it gets executed. Every time you create an instance, the instance block also will execute, constructor also will execute. See the flow. Then we'll see what is the advantage of it, or when to use it, why to use it. Are you getting the flow now? But once the object is created, see in H also, in H1 also, in H2 also, you cannot execute instance block also, constructor also. Over. So only one time they get executed. When the object is getting created. Understood now? So after the object is created, you cannot call the instance block, you cannot call the constructor. See, first of all, there is no chance to call the instance block because it does not have a name. That is one thing. Now you cannot call the constructor with dot operator also. Constructor can be called only with the help of new operator. Are you clear with all this? So this is how they have designed. Understood how the instance block works? Fine. Now what is the use of instance block is your next question. So since it is also getting executed only once during the creation of object, I can use it for what? Initialization purpose only again. I can use. So Java is giving you two places for doing initialization. One is the instance block, other one is the constructor. Now which one to use when? Or which is better? See, instance block have one drawback. You cannot send arguments to the block. But for a method you can send arguments. Sorry, for a constructor we can send arguments. That is the difference. So if at all you want to send arguments and do initialization, you can do it with the help of constructor. Okay, but plainly you want to do initialization without sending arguments and all, that time you can use instance block. And that's quite logical. But developers have a tendency, even though they are telling it to use like that, developers have a tendency. What they do now, they hardly, means they very rarely, we can say they very rarely use instance block for initialization. Most of the times, majority of the times, will be using constructors only for doing initialization. Both support you are having. Either you can use instance block for doing initialization or constructor. You can do the initialization here also or here also. No issue. But developers prefer using constructor. Because see, it will be like this. Today I want to write some initialization logic without any values. So today I will add the instance block. Tomorrow suddenly I want to manipulate my code. Now I need a parameter or argument. So now again I have to remove the block and write a constructor and then do the initialization here now. So it will be a headache. So that's why whether you want an argument or not, blindly we do the initialization in constructor itself. Because tomorrow if you want to modify also, it will be very easy. Okay, if you don't want any argument, go for a no argument constructor. Understood? But if you tomorrow you want a parameter, just open it and add it. No, use it. But if you go for a block, today no value, I don't need any value. Tomorrow I need a value, it's very difficult to manipulate now. So better what we do, if at all I need a value, see, initially I might not need a value. I'll go for a no argument constructor. Tomorrow I want a value, I'll just add one parameter here. That's it. It'll be easy. So that's why developers prefer mainly constructor for doing initialization. Clear this? Do you have any questions? We prefer that. Okay, both can be used for doing initialization. Do you have any questions here?
Blocks. Why we use blocks?
Why use blocks? Supposingly I want to do initialization without a value. Okay, supposingly I want to do initialization without a value, that time I can use a block. Same kind of initialization if I want to do without value, I can go for a no argument constructor. Yes or no? Java is giving you support for both. But supposingly, no, I don't want any value. I don't want any value. I want to do the initialization. Doing here also is correct, doing here also is correct. But tomorrow I need a value for initialization. So which one would have been better? Construct means if I had used an instance block for doing an initialization without a value, tomorrow I want a value, now this becomes useless. Again I have to remove all this code, write it in the constructor. Understood? Instead of that, what we do? We write a constructor like this. We write the initialization logic. But tomorrow I need a value, I'll just add one parameter. That's it. See, Java is giving you both support. Java is giving you support for both. Which one? Instance block also, constructor also. But you decide which one to use. Majority of the time we use constructor. And this is also one more valid member of the class. This is also one more valid member of the class. Okay. So, and if you want, you can use it. Are you clear with this? And when does it get executed? When the instance is getting created, during the creation of the object. Now more things, we'll see it. We'll add yesterday's members also. See, if I want, I can add finalize also. I can add public void finalize. And you can print SOP inside finalize. The story continues, I'm not changing it, it's the same. Only we are seeing one new member getting added, which is the instance block. You call the garbage collector. Is there any dereferenced object? No. Is there any dereferenced object? No. So it will not clear it. So no finalize method gets executed. But if I say h1 is equal to null, h2 is equal to null. Now if I call system.gc. So how many times will you see the execution of finalize now? 2 times. Same it is. But only one output you'll be seeing extra, which is instance block. That too when? During the creation of object. Clear this? Okay. Now what is the difference between an instance block and a local block? Next question you might have. All this is clear now? So I'll move to the next topic now. Difference between what? Instance block and local block. Okay. Just I'll do it here itself. See in the methods. Okay, I'll write it here. One method M1. So it will not have anything inside M1 method. See, it's optional. It's not that your method should have a block. It is optional. Okay. Void M2. 1 second. I'll just write it below. See, in M2 method, SOP inside M2. This is okay. See, if I open some brace here, begin M2, I'll write begin M2, and I'll write SOP end M2, M2 method. In between this, see, I'm putting on brace now. So where is this block now? Inside the method. You can write any statements here. What I'll write? SOP inside local block. This is called as local block. So if you write a block inside a method, it is called as local block. Till now also we have written the code. See, we had written, this was our syntax earlier, class demo PSVM. So we were writing blocks here. Remember that? Where were we writing the method blocks? We are writing these blocks inside the main method. Correct only. We are writing it in main. Now I am writing it in M2 method. So you can write it in any method. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to write it in main method, M1 method, M2 method. If you want to write a block, you can write it in any method. So this will also execute. But local methods, when do they execute? When you call the method. So till you call the method, local blocks are not executed. Now here in this case you might ask, what is the use of local block? See, this here there is no use, but definitely you know the ability of a block in Java. You can give name to your local blocks. Generally it will be used when you are writing logics. You know, I have shown you writing, giving name to the blocks now. Inner block, outer block. I have given you names. Supposingly I want to write break, continue, all that. So such kind of logics you want, that time your blocks, local blocks become very helpful. I'll show you that also. Okay, so are you clear with this now? Local blocks I had shown you now. When do you use local block? You can, when do you give the name to the block? When you want to take control. It's an alternate to what? Why do you name the block? It's an alternate to go to statement. It's an alternate to go to statement. So that's the reason what we are taking named blocks you can take. Here if I don't give any name, optional. But see, if I want, I can give a name to the block. First is the name of what now? See, this is the block now. So for this I can give a name called as first colon. This is the syntax. This is the name of the block. But for instance block I can't give name. Remember that. You can give names to local blocks, but you can't give names to instance block. I'll tell the differences later after I complete. Or you can write down. Left hand side local block, right hand side, left hand side you draw some differences. Left hand side instance block. Right hand side local block. Okay, instance block belongs to class. Means when you code, no, when you look at a code, it will be in the class. Instance block will be at the class level. Instance block will be at the class level. Next, local block will be in the methods. Instance block will be at the class level. Local block will be in the method. Next, instance block gets executed. Instance block gets executed every time a new instance gets created. Instance block gets executed every time a new instance gets created. Getting it now? Here, this side, local block gets executed only when the method is invoked. Local block gets executed only when the method is invoked. Next point, instance block. Instance block cannot have names. Instance block cannot have names. This side, local block. Local block can have names. Are you clear with this? So some more differences we find, we'll add it. Understood? Not a problem. You just leave some 3-4 lines there, so that in case if you find some more points, we can add it later. Are you clear? So now we have to put this into coding and see now. We can put this into coding and see the output now. Should I clear everything what I have written? Should I clear? Fine. Any questions here? So your members continue. Only one extra member what I added today was instance block. And it can be used for doing initialization logic. But we prefer constructor for doing initial. Even though you can use it, but there will be some conditions. I will be showing you later. There will be some conditions where you depend on instance block only for doing initialization. It becomes mandatory for you. Some situations. Right now I cannot show that situation to you. Gradually when we code later you'll understand. It becomes mandatory for you to use the instance block only, but not constructor. Some situations will occur. Clear this? Shall I clear all this now? Okay, in the difference you can write one more. Instance block gets executed only once. Yes or no? One more point you write. Instance block gets executed only once. But local blocks can be executed n number of times. That is one more difference. Can give a name class block demo. Save the file. We give the name as instance block to the folder. Instance block demo and name. Fine. You can run the program, it executes, not an issue. Always check when you write a simple program. If this works, you can continue coding. Class. You can give the name. Okay. So I'll write one constructor. Okay, or you can have an instance block. See, the order is irrespective. You can write constructor first, method next, or method first, constructor next. You can write it in any order. Okay, it doesn't matter. But this is a convention what we follow. Convention means some best coding practices. Understood? Some best coding practices what we follow is variables on the top, instance block next, then constructor, then methods, then finalize. Okay, if we follow that standard, now it is easy for us to refer to each other's class. Now I'll write finalize on the top. Then in one class, example I have written 10 classes. In one class I'll write finalize on the top. Then I'll write constructor next. Then I'll write variable. Then I'll write method. Then I'll write blocks. In one more class I'll take one more order. What will happen now? When you start seeing into my classes, you will not find it comfortable. So that's why every developer in Java, we follow on common practice. Okay. So always follow these standards. So now I can write so see this, we have got a class now. I'll compile, I'll execute. Hello class is still not getting used. Understood now? Can you see this? Only hello world is getting executed. I'm executing, it's printing only hello world. But next I'll say just h is equal to new. Now see what happens. I've compiled, now I'll execute. Instance block and constructor gets executed. Are you following now? Okay. Now, or I'll name it as h1. Then what I'll do? I'll create one more object. Hello h2. h2 is equal to new hello. So we are creating two objects now. You can see instance block constructor, instance block constructor. Methods I'll call h1 dot m1. h1 dot m1. So you can call the method anytime, anywhere. Okay. Or you can call it from h2 also. That is your wish. There's no rule that you have to call it here, there. See, it's not that after creating the object here only you should call h1 dot m1. So I'll call it here also. After creating both the objects, I'll call it here. It's your wish. You can call the methods anywhere. Are you getting it now? See now. First, you can see what is the output. Instance block constructor, m1, m1, m1. 3 times are called m1 method. Are you following now? So now, okay. If I say system.gc, anyway, we have not written any finalize method there. We have not written. Anyway, no objects are also dereferenced. Understood? So nothing will happen. Okay. But supposingly, okay, we'll create more objects. We are piling up on the yesterday's topic. Hello, H3. H3 is equal to new hello. Okay, then I'll dereference some objects. H1 is equal to null. After dereferencing, don't try to use the object. You'll get null pointer exception. H1.m1, you'll get what? Null pointer exception. H2 is equal to null. Okay, now also I'll call system.gc. It will not execute finalize because you have not written it. Understood? If you want, then you write. Okay. So now that is optional. So now I'll add. See, this is how you add the members. Are you getting it now? When you want, you can go on adding. Public void. See now, this time you can see, finalize. So this is optional. So when you write your code in a class, you decide what you want, what you don't want. You can see now, how many instance variables will you have in your class? Depends on the values you want to store. What will be the parameters of your constructor? Depends on how many values you need for initializing. How many constructors will you have? Again, that is your logic. How many methods you want? That depends on the logic what you write. Understood? You might want one method or two methods or three methods. Okay. Then you might need a finalize also. Why? To release the object level resources. So like this, you think and write the class. And writing a class is a big art. It's not, don't think you can write it immediately now. Now also you don't have the ability to write a class. Okay. You have started understanding what a class is. And still you don't have the ability to write a class. You just now started understanding what a class is, what an object is. I might have been teaching you object from past 2 weeks. But now you are actually seeing what an object is. Are you clear with this? It's still a big topic, I'm telling you. Object is a very, very, very big topic. But simple words, yes, code coming into existence. But there are too many things related to it. Are you clear with this? So fine. Are you clear with this finalize now? Okay. Do you have any questions with the blocks?
Without writing finalize method, is it destroying objects, sir?
It will destroy. See, if I don't write finalize here, it will definitely destroy the object. Why? Because your object is not having any resource. But if your object is having a resource, then it is not eligible for destruction. If your object is initialized with a resource, it is not eligible for destruction. I know, I told you, no, object level resource. Supposingly it might get a DB connection or a file connection. If it is initialized with some object level resource, now that object will not be eligible for garbage collection. So it becomes mandatory for you to release that object. You have to file. You see, you can't destroy the object. But to make the object eligible for destruction, you have to release the resources in the object. You can make the object eligible for destruction. Understanding now? You can make the object eligible for destruction, but for that, one is you have to dereference it, abandon it. Second one is, if there are resources in the object, you have to release it. Only then your object gets destroyed. Are you clear? Now it will be destroyed here. Here it will be destroyed, not a problem, because there are hardly any resources I am using. What resource is there in your class, sir? Nothing is there. Understood? When I write resources, you will understand this. Clear with this? Okay, any other questions? Okay, fine. Now we'll see local block. Local block I'll write. See, this is a local block. Here it doesn't make any sense. Understood? But when does a local block make sense is when you want to take control over break, continue and all that, then because you'll give a name now, name blocks, it will be very effective. See this. System dot out dot println inside done. So instead of calling, see, I'll just take one object now. Will not work with so many things. Okay, or I'll take M2 method. I'll just call M2 method, nothing else I'll do now. You can create any objects you want, that's secondary. But in M2, what happens, it compiles. It's a valid syntax, first of all. If it compiles means it's a valid syntax. Understood? Then you can execute. So when I begin M2 inside local block, end of M2. Clear? If I want, I can give a name. See here, I can give a name to this block. How to give the name to the block? FIRST, first, colon. That's the syntax, yes or no? But here it doesn't make any sense. But you know when a local block has a effect. Should I have to show you that? First, second, break, continue. If you are interested, what you can do, you can open on file. You had seen now, which one was that? Block. See, this is when your programs becomes very important. Control statement, huh? Oh, I have not named it as block. So you should know where it is. And not in control statement. I think it was not in return. I think it was in break, continue. Labeled. Unlabeled. So see this. All this you can copy paste there. You can see the flow. Same thing. Where you will paste it now? Paste. So these are your right logics. So that logic was in main now. I shifted it to M2 method. So here boolean b is equal to entering first block, second block, third block. If true, what will happen? It will break second. And end of all block, you can see the flow. That's it. So here it becomes very important. Go to. Are you clear with this now? Logic you go through now. Logic you go through. I explained you this logic earlier. So entering, see, begin M2, entering first block, entering second block, entering before the break, end of first block. Directly second and third and second or something is skipped, I think. We have directly entered the first block because you have given the name. What you have given? Break second. Understood? So you can check this out. So understood how to write the code now? So when you write a class, we write statements inside a class. Are you following it now? When we write code, we write statements inside a class. Which statement you will write where, that you should know now. Earlier you are not seeing this properly. Blindly you are by hearting. First line should be class hello. Second line should be what? Brace. Third line should be what? One more brace. Fourth line should be what? System.out.println instance block. Fourth line what? Close. That is not the way you code. Understood? Clearly, if you look at the class, you should understand now what to write where. So that is why I am stressing more on members of the class. Understood now? Okay. And you check out, computer science people also do not know how to write a valid class like this. I am not joking. You might be thinking, I am from electronics, computer science, know everything. All are in same boat now. Initially when if, else, do, while was going on, they might be acting very smart. But now they also don't know anything, you also don't know anything. Are all in the same boat. Practice it. Who practice better can write better code now. Understood now? So now you start understanding why computer science people also with 80% they don't get job. Okay, because they can't code. As simple as this. They might be thinking, now you wanted answers. I am applying at so many places. In my resume I am mentioning what? To forget one language, you will mention three languages. What? Languages known, C, C++, Java. One only you don't know properly. No, but you'll write three languages. Learn one language first. Understood? But in resume fully stylishly write C, C++, comma, C++, comma, Java. If extra one more you write what? C#, comma, what? Multilingual. One language you try first. Are you clear with this? Forget in one language, understand one data type first. Understood? In one language, one data type, what? Class you understand. What is class and what is object you understand. You will put four object oriented languages. So that is your fate. So when they look at your resume, no interviewer will feel like taking interview. That is the problem. They know that very well. See, you are thinking you are trying to show your mastery over the subject. Telling what? C, C++, Java and extra. They know very well, they are pioneers, they are working in the industry for 8 to 10 years. If you mention in your resume like that, what will happen you know? They 100% know you know nothing. A professional will never build a resume like that. Following now, he'll be very precise. What he knows, only that he'll add. Understood? So there are ways to build your resume, which will be taught to you very shortly. Right now, if I tell, it doesn't have any meaning. Okay, still tomorrow also, if I see a resume, it will be like that only. What? C, C++, Java only it will be. Okay, other way of that is, put only Java. And you tell, you are SCJP certified. At least it has some weightage. Tell only one language, and you tell, means you have not got certification, but I am telling you how you build a resume. You learn Java properly and do some international certification, like SCJP and all that. That carries more weightage. That will, see, among 1,000 resumes, that resume will be picked now. So what, see, first is getting call for the interview is important. After getting call, then clearing is secondary. Your problem is you don't know how to get the call only. Understood? And on top of that, somehow you'll manage reference, difference and all that. That time also when you get the call, you don't know how to clear the interview. They'll ask you, do you know Java? Yeah, I know Java. What is there in Java? Then they'll ask, what is class? You know the explanation. Class is what? First class, second class, Gandhi class. What is class now? It's a user-defined data type which can be used for implementing. Oops. Still more will come out now. Definition. Understood? So if you want to implement OOPS, you can choose this data type. So these are better definitions. They'll send you out. As soon as you tell first class, second class, Gandhi class, what they'll do? They'll not feel like taking interview and they'll send you out. They'll say what? We'll get back to you. What will you think? Oh, they'll get back to me immediately. Tomorrow morning they'll call me and they'll send on what? Chauffeur driven Innova in front of your house for picking up and taking them to their company, and then they'll garland you and give you an offer letter. Like that you will be thinking. They would have forgotten you the next moment only. These are the reasons why people fail to get the job. More info I'll give about why you don't get jobs. Prepare well. Time is very short. Understood? Prepare properly. Your branch is not at all a constraint. We have the record of placing you in biotech people also, electronics people also, computer science people also. Okay, percentage also doesn't matter. You are 40%, 50%, they'll not look. Resource, thousands of resources are there in the market today. What company is looking for is skilled resource, where they can hire you and put you immediately into the project. They don't want to train you like this. What is class, what is object, they don't want to train you all this. They say, we want a ready product. Okay, we'll hire you and you perform, we'll pay you the money. They don't mind paying you money, but they really mind hiring you, giving training for you 6 months and then putting you on to job. Then you'll tell, I don't like the job, you'll quit and go. They don't like that. Understood? So that's why nobody is bothered about training now. You take any companies, big MNCs, hardly training. In 3 months what they'll train? Everything they'll train. C, C++, Java, database, .NET, everything they'll train. Mainframe. How is it possible? So they don't bother. Why? But why they give training also, there's some reason. Without training, if they put you into project, what will you do? Sir, in college they didn't teach me. It was out of syllabus. Now in doing project, syllabus will come. Understood? So you'll blame. So that's why what they'll do, slight training they'll give you. And they'll put you into the project. Then you can't code. That is what they want. Then they'll put you into maintenance. They want that only. When a project is running now, one department team will be there, one maintenance team will be there. So they know how to handle you. First they'll give training. In training you'll find tough, full. So you'll only get scared. Abba, don't want development. Then what will you do? You want to move away from there. That is what they want. They'll put you into maintenance. You have joined the company now. You told everybody, friends and all, you have given party already. Oh, I got job in Infosys, I got job in IBM. Now you can't leave. Why? Prestige, no? Prestige. So when prestige comes out, what will happen? Whatever job they'll give, you will work. After 2 years, you will realize, oh, I am doing a wrong thing. Then point of no return. If you want to change also, how will you change? One, you can't build your resume. Try to build your resume, it will come up. Working for BPO, working for maintenance. Who will give you a job on that segment now? Your career is gone. So most of the brightest careers are spoiled like that. They might be having good percentage. So that is why instead of company selecting you, you select the company and the job. I would recommend that. Okay, I don't know how many of you are getting this message. but slowly you'll get this message. Understood now? Many are there in the same batch. You can contact them. They are working in companies. They come from companies. I'm not lying. Yes, sir. They come from big companies, TCS, Infosys. I'll not name because they'll get hurt. Understood? But you check out. Understood? Are you clear with this now? Anyway, I don't want to hurt personally. I'm just talking about what? Facts. What is industry? What is happening? Why you don't get jobs? If you get job, what happens? Why people are not happy and satisfied in the company? I'm just telling out the reasons. Okay, so you have to balance all this and move properly ahead so that you have bright careers. So Java everybody will learn, but guidance is more important here. What is there in Java? Correct? Huh? Nothing is there in Java. One class is there, one object is there. Huh? Class hello means one class. Huh? Hello h is equal to new hello means object. Over now. That anybody will learn. Man. Okay, any questions to here now? Any questions? So you're clear with local block, then you're clear with instance block. Fine. Anything you want me to show here? Any other thing? See, once a class is designed with some great effort, imagine it can be reused at multiple places. That is one great advantage. So you should writing code, getting output is not important. Writing a flawless code is important. Errors is secondary. See, error means it will never compile and execute. Flaw means it will execute, but there will be some bug in it. Okay, so we have to write flawless code now. To write flawless code, you should understand how a class is going to be designed. Clear? Understanding difference between English you know, no? Java you don't know, I agree. But at least you know English. Because you have learned English from when? Only 22 years. Yes or no? But Java you want to learn in what? 22 days. It's something like learn Java in 30 days. No, 21 days. Huh? Learn Java in 21 days, learn English in 30 days. Is it possible, man? Huh? Okay. Learn Java fast track. Yes, sir? 30 days. So it is not possible. Simply you will be wasting time there. Nothing you will learn finally. Okay, then we have to move to the next keyword now. Shall I move to the next keyword now? Shall I move to the next topic? You wrote the differences, everything is clear? Blocks, local block, instance block, no questions? Thank God you're becoming Einstein now. You come without questions. Great. So either two things here, correct? Huh? Either I am teaching excellently or I am teaching badly. You all are Einstein and Newtons. You don't have any doubts only. Either of two options. Which one? Both. Oh, you are Newton only. Let's see them. Huh? They're all Galileo. Correct? Huh? Greatest scientists of the world. Okay. I will take the next keyword now called as this. This is one more keyword now. Or before going to this, one small example I will explain to you. Then we will move to this keyword. A small example I have to explain. You try it in main method only. Before going to this, I will finish one example. Just see this. Int I is equal to 0. SOPI, what it will print? 0 it prints. I is equal to 5. SOPI, what will it print? 5 only it will print. I is equal to I. SOPI, what will it print? I'll use some options. It will print 0. It will print ASCII value. It will give error. Or it will print 5. Check out. Huh? Think properly. Simply don't give answer. Huh? 5. Think. When option is given, more problem. Without option, it will give correct answer. 5 it prints. Check out. It is I is 0. SOPI 0 it prints. I is equal to 5. Right hand side is value, it is given to I. Prints 5. I is equal to I. Now what happens? Value is on right side. Same value is overwritten. It overwrites. If you are confused with this, take this example. Int I is equal to 5. Int J is equal to 10. SOP Ij, what is the result? 510. I is equal to J, now what happens? The value of J is given to I, no? Yes or no? The value of J will be given to I, that's it. When the value of J is given to I, now SOP Ij, what will it print? So here it was 5, 10. Now the value of J is given to I, so both will print 10 and 10. So here I gave a value from a different variable. Here I am giving a value from same variable. So you should always pay more attention to what? Assignment operator. That's a very crucial operator which you neglect. Do not bother when you get this assignment operator. No, simply break it into two parts. First see what is on right side. If it is value, fine. Compatible value it will be given. Otherwise compilation error only will occur. Understood? Focus on the right side. If it is correct, it will provide now. What is the I you having now value? 5. But it is giving to which I? Same I, it overwrites. So the output here will be 5. Here it prints 0, here it prints 5, here also it prints 5. Clear this? Now you might ask, what is the use of this? Why should I do this? We'll see the usage of this. First understand basics so that advanced topics become easier to you. The same concept will be applied now. And it is in local scope. Are you seeing it now? I is in local scope. There is only one I in this scope. For that only we are overwriting. Okay, this I'll apply this now. This concept I'll be applying somewhere now. Are you followed this now? Any questions? Should I type and show you? No problem, no? Okay, you're all Newton now. Yes, sir? See, within 20 days you have become Newton. First Norton, now you have become Newton. There's no ton in your head, no? First. Now it has become Newton. Okay, write some notes on this keyword. Till here you write. Okay, continue writing. Some points you will not understand. Okay, but I'll go on explaining you. Just write it. So see this now. What is this? Basically, this is a keyword in Java. It's a keyword. Next point. This is a reference variable which refers to the current object. This is a reference variable which refers to the current object. Next point. This keyword is used to access the members of the class within the same class. Getting it now? This is a keyword used to access the members of the class within the same class. I'll be explaining you. See, this is theory. I have to show you practically all this. All these points, one example I'll give and explain to you. So examples are given for what? Understanding these concepts only. Clear? Next point. This can be used only to access what? Instance members. Carefully notice that point. It's a very important point. This keyword can be used to access only instance members. Now see how I'm writing this keyword. T is small here. I'm not writing T as caps. If I write T in caps, what will you think now? English you'll think. That's why carefully write the notes. Next. See, this cannot be used to access what? Static members of the class. Are you getting the difference between these two points? This keyword can be used to access only instance members. But this keyword cannot be used to access what? Static members. So till now I have not covered static members for you. I'll be covering it next. Okay, that time you'll understand that point. Other points you'll understand, this point you'll not be understanding. One more thing is this also cannot be used in static context. Now see, carefully understand the point. This is used to work with instance members of the class. Now there's a big difference between instance members and static members. Till now I have not taught you static members of the class, which we will be starting from tomorrow. Understood? So we have to discuss one more member which is present in the class called as static. That we'll see from tomorrow. Understood? So but this is used for accessing what only? Instance members, not static members. Next point. This keyword can be used to access the following members of the class. Means it's used for accessing what now? Members of the class. Generally this keyword is used for accessing members of the class. What are the different members of the class? Variables, constructors, methods. You know that. Blocks you can't access because they don't have name. Understood? Fine. Now coming to this one now. First one you take now. Instance variables. You take the first one now. We'll be studying which one now? Instance variables. So instance variables you can see now. This keyword is used to resolve the conflicts between instance variables and local variables. Just write that point, I'll be explaining you. The conflict between the instance variables and local variables might be either in constructor or in methods. So we'll be covering this point now. Okay, so we'll see that now. Are you following it now? So I'll start off with this keyword, and now this I'll start with instance variables. Clear? This I'll start with instance variables. Have you completed writing this now? Write later. You're very intelligent. Okay, see this now. You can declare your instance variables in a single line. Okay, or I'll write it in 3 lines only. See WH and D. What are they? Instance variables. This is how you write your class now? Understood? No, fine. I'll write box B1. B1 is equal to new box of 1, 2, 3. What happens? An object gets created now. So how does the object get created? New memory will be allocated. In this memory what will be there? As is your class. Same memory will be allocated. Okay, int x, int y, int z. W is equal to x, h is equal to y, d is equal to z. Box B2 means here, okay, let's see this. New memory gets allocated, box, the constructor gets executed, and values are passed to x, y, z. From x, y, z, what are you doing? Giving it to WH and D. 1, 2, 3. So new will allocate memory, box, the constructor gets executed, the arguments 1, 2, 3 are passed to the parameters x, y, z. Now these parameters will receive the value and initialize the instance variables. So many things are happening. And finally the address of this object or the reference of this object, which might be something like 150 or something, is given to what? The variable called as B1. Clear till here? In fact, internally there is one more keyword called as this, which will be referring to this object. So this is a keyword. First of all, what is the first point you have written? This is a keyword. Next point, what you have written? This is a reference variable. This is a reference variable which is referring to the current object. This is a reference variable which is referring to the current object. Okay, this is one keyword is there. It will be referring. Okay, it is built-in referring. It is implicitly in the JVM. It will be happening like this itself. Now let me make the point still more clearer to you. Till now we have seen how to access the members of one class in another class. How did you access the members of one class in another class? If you want to access the constructor, you use new. I want to access the constructor of box class in a demo class. So how will I do? I'll use new and then I'll access the constructor. If I want to access the variables, how do I access? After creating the object, I will use the dot operator and access it like this. See how we are accessing all the members. Okay. Then I can access even all the variables, provided they are not private. If there is a method also, I can access that member also by calling B1, means you will be having volume method. So all the members you can access. Notice carefully, don't see the output. Check how you are accessing the members of box class in demo class. Constructor I use new. Variables dot operator. Method dot operator. Comfortable here, clear? Now the same members, we'll see now how to access it in the same class. That is what we are seeing now. Understood? That is the topic actually. How to access the members of the class within the same class. Understood? Yes. Now we are saying how to access the instance variables of the class in the same class, where in constructor. So in constructor, how do you access? See this here also, int p is equal to w into h into d, return p. You can do. See now, concentrate on this class now. We are trying to use we are trying to access instance variables now, where in the same class. Next I'll teach you how to access constructor within the same class. Next I'll teach you how to access methods within the same class. Same thing I'll teach. There we have seen how to access constructor, method and variables. Same thing we'll see here. First I'm going to the topic of variables. How to access your variables, instance variables within the same class. Are you getting the topic now? This is the basic now. Okay. Now, so if I want to access the instance variables in the same class, I can access it in two locations. One is constructors. Second one is methods. Yes or no? I can access my instance variables in constructor, methods, even in blocks you can access, even in finalize method you can access. But you can access it everywhere. Okay. Which constructor you can access? You can access it in all constructors. Here I have written only one. If I want, I can access it in one more constructor. If I want, I can access it in one more constructor. Similarly, that value I can access it in all the methods also. Can I access it in M1 method? Yes, no. Here also I can access. There is no restriction. So you can access your variables. So right now what am I focusing? How to access the variables of the class, instance variables of the class within the same class. That is what I am focusing. Now carefully notice. How did I access? W is equal to X. W I am accessing. H I am accessing. D I am accessing. Here also W, H and D. Fine. Okay. Now all this is okay. All this is okay. And if I print B1 dot W and all, what is the answer I will get? 1, 2, 3. Correct now? After creating the object, the answers what I will be getting is 1, 2, 3. Are you clear with this? Okay. Now you understand now. See, this is a keyword which is referring to this object. One more I will create. Now I will understand. Box B2. B2 is equal to new box of 5, 6, 7. So again what will happen now? One more new object gets created. It will also have WH and D. It will also have the constructor. Same thing will come into existence. New memory gets allocated. Constructor is executed. 5, 6, 7 are passed as arguments to XYZ. XYZ are parameters which will receive it. Then they will give the value to the instance variables. 5, 6, 7 will be given to the instance variables WH and D. The address of this object 250 is given to which one now? B2. Valid. Valid now. Same thing happens. Here also there will be a keyword called as this, which will be referring to the current object. So whenever you create an object, understood? Whenever you create an object, what happens? There is on this keyword which is referring to your current object. Internally, JVM will be doing this. Okay, so this is how it works. Now we'll see how to use it. Okay, so we have created two objects. Now here, see now, I'm coming to the topic of what now? Forget object now. I'm coming to the topic of how to access the members of the class within the same class. And now I'm focusing on what? Instance variables. So if I want to work with my instance variable, one option is I can work directly without the usage of dot operator. Yes or no? Outside the class, how do you access? With dot operator. Inside the class, how do you access? Without dot operator. Getting the difference now? But now see, I can access it like in this particular way also. Is highly valid. This dot W is equal to X, this dot H is equal to Y, this dot D is equal to Z. Highly valid. This is also correct code. Understood? So if you want to access the members of your class within the same class, now what am I doing? I am using dot operator. But I am saying this dot. Outside the class also, see, remember one more thing now. Dot operator is used for what? Accessing the members of the class. That's it. Whether inside, outside, no, not, that question will not come now. Particularly dot operator is used for accessing members of the class. Where? Either inside the class or outside the class. Till now I was telling only outside, but now I started telling dot operator can be used for accessing members inside the class also. When will you do that? When you start using, say inside the class you will use this dot, outside the class you will use reference variable dot, B dot, B1 dot, like that you will use. So now this is so now what happens? Now let's see this. So now this is your class now. You have designed your class like this now. Not only there, even for calculating your volume, here also how you can write code? P is equal to this dot W into this dot H into this dot D. So this is also correct. This is also correct. Both are correct. Your wish. Both are correct. So now what happens? Let's see this. Box B1. B1 is equal to new box. New memory gets allocated. New memory gets allocated. After allocating the new memory, what happens? The constructor gets executed. Which constructor? XYZ. So now means the one with 3 parameters. You are sending the arguments. It is given to what? XYZ. Once it is given to XYZ, it is giving it to the instance variable. Same process. But only how I am working with instance variables you see now. Only I told what I told? This dot W. Now to use the instance variable in the same class, what did I do? Instead of writing it directly, I just used this dot W. That's all. Nothing, same output. Option is there for you. If at all you want to access your instance variables within the same class, you can access it directly. Or you can access with this operator. Understood now? Both options are correct. It is up to you which option you prefer. Either you write directly, see this is also valid. I will not use this keyword. Directly I will write what? W is equal to X, H is equal to Y, D is equal to Z. Or I will use this keyword like this. Both are valid. Output is same. Are you clear with this? Okay. Now, here also to calculate volume, you can write like this line. Or you can write like this. Finally you have to return, that is secondary. Finally you have to return the int value, that is there. But see, how did I access WHND? This dot W. Valid. Both are valid, highly valid code. Are you clear with this? Now, what is the use of this, you might ask? Here it doesn't make any difference. I'll give you next example where it makes more sense. And it becomes mandatory for you to use this keyword. Here it is optional to use this keyword. Understood? Here in this case it is optional to use this keyword. But in the next case, next example what I give you, it becomes mandatory for you to use this keyword. Next we'll see. Understood? So when it is mandatory, when it is optional, that difference after we complete that example we'll discuss. So here it is optional. Next example it is mandatory. Okay, are you comfortable with this now? See, you remove this also, you'll get the output correctly. Here also if you write this line, it will execute correctly. No issue. So here it is optional. Are you clear with this? Okay. So here only I am modifying. I am going with another example now. Another example. Check this out. Instead of XYZ, this time I will have my parameter with the name WHND. What are my parameter names now? WHND. So here what code you will write now? W is equal to W, H is equal to H, D is equal to D. Correct now? So what is happening now? Right now your instance variables and local variables, they are having the same name. It is possible. Scope wise it is possible. Because they are treated as instance variable. These are treated as local variables. So in Java, your local variables and instance variables can have the same name. It is possible. Are you following now? So when they have same name, actually don't think if I use same name, memory will reduce. Memory will be that much only. 3 for local, 3 for instance only. Okay, having same names will not reduce the memory and all. You don't worry about memory now. Understood? Just see, what I am telling now is the instance variables and local variables can have the same name. Understood? Now I will write this code. Now let's see what happens. Same code now. Box B1, B1 is equal to new box. See, this is your code now. Whatever you have written, that code has come into existence. So box B1, B1 is equal to new box. You are sending arguments 1, 2, 3. So it will be given to WHND. Once it is given to WHND, what will happen? It will give it to WHND, and then finally what it will print. Okay, means what it will happen here now? Now there is a conflict. There is a conflict between what? Local variable and instance variable. Since there is a conflict between local variable and instance variable, W is equal to W means, see in this scope, preference is given to local W. Remember that. So right side is value 1, but it will give it to which W now? Same W. It is not trying to initialize what? Instance variable, because the preference locally has to be given. Earlier the variable names were different. W is equal to X, there is no conflict. W it was getting from outer scope, X it was taking from inner scope. Fine, no problem. But now what is happening? Both are same. So in this scope, the local W gets the preference. So it is having a value. So W is 1. Yes, fine. It is giving it to the variable. But which W? Local W only it will give. And that is when these variables will have what? 0, 0, 0. Why? If you don't initialize the instance variables will have what value? Default values. If it is int, it is 0. If it is float, 0.0. If it is boolean, it will be false. So it will get default values. So see, everything will work. And if you print, it will compile, it will execute everything. See, syntax wise there is no problem. Syntax wise it's not a problem. It will compile, it will execute also. And if you print the values now what you are accessing? You are accessing instance variables here. But the instance variables are what now? 0, 0, 0. This becomes a problem now. So now what you have to do? I want this code to execute. So now it becomes mandatory for you to create a difference between local variables and instance variables. So to create the difference between local variable and instance variable, what I'll do is, I have to use this keyword now. Now it is mandatory. So this keyword is used to resolve the conflict between what? Local variables and instance variables. That's what I'm telling you now. So now see, what happens now? Box B1. So okay, as you have written the code will be like this now. You have written the code in that way now. So when you create the object, same code will come into existence. B1 is equal to new box now. Values are given to WHLD. So W on the right side, what means what? Local variable. If you don't use this with that, it will be treated as local. That value I want to give it to instance variable. This dot W means what now? You are working with instance variables. So now it will be given to the instance variable and it will be given here now. 1, 2, 3, it will initialize. Understood now? So when there is conflict between local variables and instance variables, you have to use this keyword. Did you understand that conflict now? Previous example I had given I is equal to I. Same problem here. One example I gave before this keyword I is equal to I. What was happening? Same I was given to other I. So if you don't use this keyword here, the same thing happens. Value of W will be given to same W. I is equal to I. One example I showed you. So that is why to resolve that problem I use this keyword now. So this dot W means now it knows you are working with the instance variable. But now remember, this dot W should be on the left side, not right side. Why? Value is on right side now. Now don't write ulta, W is equal to this dot W. That time what will happen? 0 will be given to local variable, that is W. So you should write this dot W is equal to W. Are you clear with this? If you want to be still more precise about this, for debugging, it will work now. Okay, for debugging purpose, for understanding more clearly, what you do here, in this, see this is for debugging purpose I'm telling, print only SOP this. What it will print address it will print. SOP B1 and SOP this will be same. See the address. Okay, this is for debugging I'm telling you. It's not mandatory to print now. Now see SOP, this dot W I will print. What it will print 0 it will print. SOP, before this you print. I am telling you print all this before this. Before these three statements. Okay, so then this dot H, SOP, this dot D. Also you print WHND, only WHND. Can you guess what will be the output? This dot W will print address, this dot W 0, 0, 0. WHND will print 1, 2, 3. So same statements, see you print here. Same statements you print after these statements here. This dot W will print now what? 1. This dot H will print what? 2. This dot D will print what? 3. If you print it below this, see print it above also, print it below also. Same statements. You will come to now the execution. Clear this? Clear this now? Are you clear this? Okay, fine. Now you might have a question. Now I'll put the question to you. Is using XYZ, if you use XYZ when there is no conflict, you don't have to use this keyword. When you use XYZ, you don't have to use this keyword. There it is optional. So when there is no conflict between instance variables and local variables, it is optional to use. But when there is conflict between instance variables and local variables, and in that conflicted area, if you want to work with instance variables, to work with instance variables, I'll use this keyword. To work with local variables, I'll use it normally. So it is better, is it better to code in this way, or is it better in the previous way? Both will give the same output. There's no difference. Okay. If you write which one? X, Y, Z, W is equal to X, H is equal to Y, D is equal to Z. That will also give the same output. This will also give the same output. Which one is better? This one is better. It is not confusing for you. Huh? This is n times better. We should not use many variables. To initialize, now what will happen now? If I use X, Y, Z, now supposingly 3 are there, fine. Supposingly there are 20 variables in your class now. Now your parameter list will be there. Now you will only get confused. Which variable you are giving to, which parameter value you are giving to which instance variable. Big confusion will be there. So to avoid all those problems, okay, we use this keyword. There are two types of programmers in the world. One is good programmer, other one is bad programmer. Both will get output. But who gets the better output is very important now. Okay. So good programmers always use this keyword. Bad programmer always doesn't use this keyword. And I know you know how to classify yourself. You can classify now whether you are good or bad. And depending on that, you use this or you don't use this. So what are you, good or bad? Both. Then fine. Kalnayak you are. Correct? Huh? So fine. Today trend now all Kalnayak style only. Okay, so that's why you are both. Fine. Anyway, you can, that is optional, but good developers always use what? This keyword. They create conflicts like this and they resolve the conflicts like this only to understand which value is given to which variable. That it is more clear now. W value has been given to W only. H value has been given to H. But if I write W is equal to X, H is equal to Y, it is confusing now. What is X having? I am giving it to which variable? It will be confusing. 3 variables you will manage. But in your class, if you are having 20 variables, 30 variables, it will become very difficult. Are you clear with this? So, right now, another point now. See, we try to access the instance variables within the same class, in the constructor now. Similarly, where can you access the instance variables? You can access it in method also now. See now, here I want to calculate the volume. If I want to calculate the volume, int p, I will declare a local variable. Okay, it will work. P is equal to W into H into D. Or you can write like this also. See, here using this is optional because there is no conflict. Here it is optional. See, I showed you conflict in constructor. Now I am showing you conflict in methods. Understood? Here there is no conflict, you can do it. But by chance, my local variable is also named as W. I will not name it as P. Till now it was P. But now I will name my local variable as what? W. It's not a parameter, it's a local variable. Check, it's in the method now. Now what happens? This code will give me error. Error means what it will print? Return P means what will happen? W means it will take which W now? Local W. What is it? 0. 0 into H it will take 2 into 3. So return W means it will give me what answer now? 0. So now it becomes mandatory for me to resolve the conflict here by writing as what? W is equal to, yes, this is correct. So when I am using here W is equal to, see with W I have to use this keyword. For H and D, this will also work. For H and D, I don't have to access what? This keyword. So it's optional. If you want to use this dot H, or you use only H. If you want to use this dot D, or use only D. But for W, it is mandatory you have to use this dot W because there is a conflict. And one more thing. Now in these scenarios, don't create conflict. It is confusing. It is confusing. So generally where we create conflicts, where we should not create conflicts, you should understand now. That comes with practice. In constructors we create conflicts deliberately. Developer will create conflicts actually deliberately so that it will not have confusion. But the same conflicts if you create in methods like this, it will create confusion. Here it is removing confusion, but here it will create confusion. You will have the question now, why did I name my local variable as W? And why am I doing this? Here you will have confusion. So where to create conflicts, where not to create conflicts will come only with experience to you. Understood? I'll give more examples and you'll start understanding now. More examples I'll give. Are you clear with this? Okay. So conflicts can occur in constructor also, conflicts can occur in methods also. Okay. But where to create, where not to create, you should have a brief idea. So that's what more examples will help you to, you understood the usage of this. You understood the usage of this now, how it works and all. But the next question which is coming out to you is, where to use it, when to use it, where to create conflicts. That is the next question. I'll resolve it. Just with some more examples you'll understand now. So is this basic clear to you? This keyword is used to resolve the conflict between what? Local variables and instance variables. Here parameter is only treated as local variable in the constructor, but here local variable is there, it's not a parameter. But anyway, it's creating the conflict in both the cases, and we are resolving it with help of this keyword. Do you have any questions here? No. So next I'll take some more examples, you'll understand now. And then I'll type it and show it to you. Okay. So one second, one more thing, sorry. See now, again, that is one object. Let me complete the program. Box B2. B2 is equal to new box. Again, one more new memory gets allocated. So here also, how is your class? Same way code has come into existence. Here also you'll have conflict, yes or no? So what will happen now? This one more object is getting created. Now internally there is one more this keyword referring to which one? The new object. So means every object will have a this keyword referring to it. Every object will be having a this keyword referring to it. One more object you create, one more this keyword will be referring to that particular object. So that is why we say this is a reference variable which refers to the current object. This is a reference variable which refers to the current object. So when I say box B1 is equal to new box, so here the code is executing now. So here this keyword is referring to which object? Current object. When this constructor was executed, that time this was referring to which object? This particular object. Similarly, when I call volume method, here you might be multiplying this dot w into this dot h. So when I call b2.volume, so this method gets executed. Volume method gets executed, and here this keyword will be referring to what? Current object. Same way I got volume method here. If I say b2.volume, so when b2.volume is called, what happens? Here this keyword will be referring to current object. So it depends now. When you call the method, in that method if you use this keyword, that this keyword will be referring to that particular current object. Are you following this now? See, if I say you are getting the point, b1.volume means volume is getting executed, but I have written this dot w into this dot h into this dot d. So this refers to what now? This object. Similarly, I will say b2.volume. So again, which method is getting executed? This dot w, this b2.volume, this method, which volume method here gets executed. So this dot w into this dot h means this is now referring to b2 object. So that is what we say. This refers to the current object. And in every object there will be a this keyword. Internally JVM will be using it. So we can use it. If you program it now, the JVM will start using your code internally now. Clear? So fine. So all this is okay now. So now see, we'll see some more examples. So you should know where to create conflicts, where not to create conflicts. Here, one more example. I'll write int w. I'm overloading constructor. I'm overloading the constructor. But remember, when a constructor completes execution, it should initialize what? All the instance variables. Because if your constructor doesn't initialize all the instance variables, the default values will be you know what. So that is why, but this constructor is having, the first constructor is having 3 parameters. The second constructor is having 2 parameters. But with the help of 2 parameters, you have to initialize how many variables? 3. Now you decide how will you do. Either I can write w is equal to, see now, this dot w is equal to w, this dot h is equal to h. Now how will you initialize d? Either with the same value or you have to hard code. So that is what would have happened. See, earlier it would have been like this. If you write int x, int y, that time it is optional to use what? This keyword. I can write w is equal to x, h is equal to y, d is equal to, I can write either x or I can write either y or I can hard code. Anything I can do. This is the option. But I don't want such things to happen. I want w value to be given to w only. So what I'll do now? Int w, int h. Now this dot w is equal to what? W. This dot h is equal to h. Now this dot d, there is no conflict with d now. If I am interested, I can use this. Else I can use directly d. This dot d, will I give the value of w now? No, I will not do it. Because it is very clear. Why did I use this parameter? Because I want this value to be given only to W. But if I write x5, you know the problem, no? Any value can be given to any instance variable. Later on you'll have problems. So that's the reason what we do. I'll write W and H, then I'll do write hard code. This is correct. Fine. Next, one more constructor I'll write. See this. Now here I'll not create conflict. Here I'll not create conflict. Why? Same value has to be given to what? All the three, W, H and D. Now what will I do? W is equal to X, H is equal to X, D is equal to X. Valid now? Here I will not create conflict. So you can initialize either like this, or this is also valid. I am not saying no. Both are correct. So in this scenario there is no conflict between W and X. Means conflict between instance variables and local variables. In this scenario there is no conflict. So when there is no conflict, I can do it like this. Which one? Without using this keyword, or with using this keyword. It is optional. You decide how you want to do. Understood now? But remember, when you are using a constructor, that constructor should initialize all the instance variable. If you don't initialize even one instance variable, it will get the default value and your object becomes useless. Useless means what? I'll try to call some method, I'll start getting some wrong answers. If I call volume method, what will I get now? 0 and all I'll start getting. Are you following now? So see to that all your instance variables are initialized at any cost. How will you do? It's your headache. Either you send one value, give it the same value to all the three variables, or you send two, hard code one, or you send three different values. You decide. But box is having the ability to store three values because it's having three instance variables. It is having the ability. Okay. Now you decide whether you give three different values or two different values, one standard value, or one value means cube. Here it is cube. Here it is cuboid. You understand? Here it is cube. Here it is cuboid. One standard dimension 10. Okay. So then you can take, means I'm just telling you an example, cube, cuboid and all that. But you just understand now. You can create a box with different dimensions, or one with standard dimension, that is 10, or one with all same sizes. But three sides will be there, width, height and depth. Are you clear with this? Do you still have questions? Now I understood how to use this keyword. It is used to, and you can see conflicts can occur in methods, but we very rarely let that happen. Generally conflicts will happen in constructor only, or sometimes it will happen in method, sometimes, but that also only for initialization purpose. Okay, I'll be showing you that later. Okay, generally this keyword will be used only for when you are doing initialization like this. Which value, this one to this one, this one to this one, that is where you'll be using. Okay, what is your question?
I didn't understand what will happen if we give this dot D is equal to W.
This dot D is equal to, where you want to give, in which constructor? First constructor, second constructor? This dot W is equal to W. What is the value of W? 0. Same value will be given to?
No sir, W.
No, here there is, see, W there is no conflict. His question is, if I write, what happens if I write this dot W is equal to W? So first W value will be taken. See, when the instance variable comes to life, already it has come to life. That is why you are able to access. You wouldn't have been able to access. I'll be talking about the life of the instance variable later. Very shortly, tomorrow class, day after tomorrow, when does instance variable come into existence? That I'll take, that class. Okay, very shortly you'll be seeing now. So that is why I'm able to access. So it's already existing now. Otherwise, if it was not existing, you wouldn't have accessed it. When it comes into existence, what it will be having? Default value, you know that. So now if I write W, first right side will be focused. There is no conflict here. Preference will be given to instance variable only. 0 is taken and given to what? Instance variable again. Which one? This dot W.
That W is our argument.
Where is your argument here? Show me.
That right hand side W, sir.
Where is right hand side W?
That assignment operator. Right.
What do you mean by argument?
Sir, whatever value.
Did I send any value here?
No, sir.
You want W here or X? What do you want? You tell that first.
That in second constructor, sir.
Second or third?
Second constructor.
Okay, 1 second. So I will bring it back to, yes, okay, you want in second constructor, yes.
This dot D is equal to W, sir.
This dot D is equal to W, fine. what value you pass now? Example. Box B2 is equal to new box of 5, 6 I'll pass. So new means what will happen now? B2 now. What happens? All the constructors will come into existence. 1, 2, 3. So what will happen now? So I have sent, see, I am invoking a constructor now. So new memory will allocate. Now which constructor gets executed? Second one. So then values are passed now, 5 and 6. 5 is given to W and 6 is given to H. The W value is given to instance variable, 5, 6. Your thing is you are telling, I want to give the value of D to, sorry, H, no? W. Okay. So what will happen now? 5 value will be given to W. But you should not do this. It will create confusion. If you really wanted to give a same value to both, it would have been ideal to use a variable by name X. So what will I do now? This dot W is equal to X, this dot, no conflict. But I'll use it like this. Because I want to give the same value to both now. So that time don't create conflict. It will become confusion. When you create conflict, it is assumed that you want to give that particular value to this particular variable only. If you want to give the same value, do it like this. Clear? And now it is optional to use what? See here I can write W is equal to X. This dot H is equal to H. This is mandatory. H is equal to X. This is also correct. Now there is no conflict between W and H and X. W, H, X, there is no conflict. Clear? Any other questions? Any other questions? So writing a class is an art. Understanding? No. Writing a class is an art. It comes with what? Effort, practice, not by seeing class. Which class? My class. You'll sit there and see what? One 3D picture. Nice picture, 2 hours morning show, you'll come and sit. Understood? Don't do that. Later on you'll find it difficult. It's actually easy. It is so simple that you have to practice it. See, you learnt English for 22 years, yes or no? But how did you learn? Simply by hearing, by talking, that is practice. Similarly, English, only if you keep hearing, if you don't talk, will you learn English? When you can't learn a communication language without practicing, how will you learn a computer language without practicing? So you have to compulsory practice it. Okay, understanding you will understand. Supposingly, there is one person, means I will not talk English, but I will every day hear somebody talking in English. I will understand, but I will be unable to talk. Same way, when I teach Java, everything you will understand, but when I ask you to code, you will be unable to do it. So practice it. Shall I clear this now? Shall I code and show you this? Or you can do it? This one I will show you. Which one? Conflicts. I will print these statements before and after. Okay. I show you actually. Really simple now. So where to create conflicts with variables, where not to create with variables, you should know now. Instance variables especially. When to create conflicts with instance variables, when not to create conflicts with instance variables and local variables, you should know. So what is that concept I covered in this example now? In the example what I wrote now, I covered how to access instance variables within the same class. Okay. You can access it in every place. You can access it in constructor, you can access it in method, everywhere you can access. And there are two ways to access. One without the dot operator, one with the dot operator. Okay. When you want to access it with dot operator, you'll use this dot. When you don't want, you can access it directly. But when will you use this dot? When there is conflict. Understood? Okay. You can check out the previous statements, the first few statements. See, some points you can follow now. This is a keyword in Java. That point you can follow. Slowly you'll understand all the points. This keyword is used to access the members of the class within the Same class. I've shown you only one member, but still we'll see. This keyword can be used to access instance members. Yes, this keyword can be used to access what? The following members of the class. In static you leave, I'll be coming later. Instance variables, constructor, methods. Now in instance variables, this keyword is used to resolve the conflict between what? Instance variables and local variables. The conflict between the instance variables and local variables might be either in constructor or methods. So I'd ask you to write till here. I'll show you the examples, then after that we'll continue with constructor. Yeah? Projector is not on now. Okay, 1 second. Okay, see this. I have written the class name as new class I have created this instance variable demo. And save it. So where will you put your file now? You can create one more folder now. 23 this keyword. Okay, now I'll take the class box from earlier place itself. See, there's a class box now. It is having, first I'll show you in this particular way without using this keyword. Output you'll get, you know that there's no problem with this. So how will you work? 1 second. See this box B1. B1 is equal to new box 1, 2, 3. Okay, then I'll access the members. If I want, I can call the volume. Means everything will execute. Only thing is I have not used this keyword in my class now. So we'll run the program. Check it out now. So it will print 1, 2, 3 and it will print 6 also. All this is perfect. But now what I'll do is I'll use this keyword. See, here using it is optional. I'm not saying no. You can use it. And here also while multiplying, here also we are trying to access, understand that not multiplication. You focus on how do you access it. Okay, here this dot W, this dot H into this dot D. So highly valid code. Understood? So same output you'll get, there's no difference. But here using this was optional. But one thing you can notice, I'll print system dot out dot println like you see, you will think okay you can code, but you code in a very bad way. You will be only coding to get output. You will never be coding to see what is happening. That is your problem. That's why I type and show you all the programs. Understood? The reason why I type and show you all the programs is you don't know how to learn. Class you have understood, but you have to extract that what? With coding. Check this out now. So you should know how to put it into coding. So you can see the address there. Value of this is the same address I'll print here now. Where I'll print? SOP B1 I'll print. Both will refer to the same one, no? See this. Look at what is value of B1 and what is value of this. After the address was created, the object was created, the same address was given to which one? B1. After this object gets created, the same address is given to B1. That's why you can see the value of this and B1 is same. More things we can see. See, still there is no conflict. I am just showing you. Value of W with this is. Value of H with this is this dot H. Value of D with this is, and if you want you can print the values of what? X, Y, Z also. Value of X, Y, Z. You can print X, Y, Z, all these print you. So you can print it before also, or you can print it later also. Both the times you print. See, this is debugging now. This is how you learn. Earlier this dot W will be what? 0, 0, 0. After that, what it will happen now? 1, 2, 3. Just see the flow. Still I am not using this keyword. Value of W with this is 0, value of H 0, value of D with 0, this is 0, then XYZ is 1, 2, 3, then value of this is, it prints the address again, value of W with this is 1, 2, 3 after initializing. So I have done the prints before also, after also. Are you clear with this? There any questions? Okay, now I will create the conflicts. Shall I create the conflicts now? You try to compile now, error. Why? You know, no, not semicolon now. What? This dot W is equal to W H D. Huh? Oh, print also I have to remove them. So good. Value of W H D is, means that is without W, which one now? This. So we'll print value of W H and D without this and with this. Fine. Perfect output, no change. But by chance if I don't use this here, now you will get 0, 0, 0 answer. Correct now? Not happens. Value of W is given to which one? Same W, local, I is equal to I. So the local variable hides this way, hides the instance variable. Its preference is given to local one. Now you can see, it will be printing B1 dot W will print you 0. See, value of W in B1 is, after creating the object, here I am telling, it will print you 0, 0. Okay, not only there, see value of W with this is 0, value of WH with this is 0, WH and D is 1, 2, 3. Inside the constructor, all this execution is happening inside the constructor. Then again after initializing with this is 0, this is 0, this is 0. See, 2 times it's printing, here also with this is 0, here also with this is 0. 2 times. Then WH and D is 1, 2, 3, they are local. But after the object is created, the values in the object are 0, 0, 0. Following now? So if I want, I can resolve this. How will I resolve? By adding this. Fine now. So now see this. Earlier with this is 0, now with this is what? 1, 2, 3. Means it has initialized. Very clear. So like this you have to understand how to write the program, and I will give some message to you in the class, but you should identify it, and this is how you have to code. Understood? So initially when I say shall I code and show, you'll say nod your head, no, not required. Okay, but it is so essential. This is how you learn, so that when you type this now, in your lifetime you should not get the doubt of this. Lifetime, I'm not telling tomorrow. Full lifetime you should never look into this. That way you have to practice. Clear? This is how I learn. I don't know about you. You are all Newton. Yes, sir? In your head, no ton now, no? We'll see. Are you clear? Any questions? Okay. Then here also, see, using this is optional. But by chance if I create a conflict W, now it's very interesting. I'm deliberately creating a conflict. Now I have to multiply with what? This not W only. H and D optional. H and D optional. Okay, last where I am printing the volume. Okay, it's printing volume of box beyond. Last statement you see now. It is printing 6. Correctly it prints because we are using this keyword. But if I remove this, now wonderful answer will get. It is printing 0. Last statement you see. Understood? Now here it becomes, see, I have to use this with what? Only W, not with H and D, because there is conflict between W and W. Now it's printing correct. Okay, but if I remove this for W and if I use it for H and D, no use. Here this is no use because there is no conflict only. You are using it just for the purpose of using it. But actually you should have used this with only W here. It will give you 0 still. The last statement 0. Understood? Now to get that answer correctly I have to use. So where to create conflict, where not to create conflict, you check out. Similarly you can overload, no? That you can try. Overloading what? Now in the third constructor, see, one I'll write. Which one? I'll take only one value, but the same value I want to give it to what? All the 3. So that time, I'll remove all this, just I'll show you in a simple way. So here, what will I do? Optional. If I want, I can use this or I can avoid this. There's no conflict. Correct now? Are you clear with this? So it's optional. Now why did I not create a conflict here? If I say W, it is assumed that that value has to give only to W. Now the same value, I can give it, I'll get the output. See, I can get the output. I will get the output also. But does it look correct? Anybody who sees this code, they will not understand what you have done. So your code should have clarity when you write. I'll get the output now. See this. Box B is equal to new box of, I'll pass a value called as 10. Sorry. It will compile. It will print 10, 10, 10. Correct only. Understood? But anybody who sees this now, they will not find it comfortable. What is that same value you are giving to all? Okay, 3 variables. Okay, what we are having 20 variables. Around 20, 40 more variables if you have, it will be confusion. That is why in this scenario, we will not create conflicts. So sometimes in constructor also will not create conflicts. Understood? So you should know, and it will come with practice to you. I'll use so many examples. This is only introduction. From now on I'll use extensively what? This keyword, and that time you'll get the full idea about using it. I'll give every example what I write now, from now it will be with this keyword only. So there you'll get the clear idea. Done? See, now it is also correct, same, but it is having some meaning. Debugging, if you want, you do put SOP this, SOP X, all that you print. Put prints, maximum prints you print, put, you'll understand. Else it will become very difficult for you. Clear? So any questions with this keyword? I mean with variables. Tomorrow I'll be showing you how to use this with constructors. Then I'll show you how to use this with methods. Okay, so now before you come tomorrow, you can write this points and come. Because I'll straight away start it off tomorrow. Constructor. I'll not give you time to write, you can write and come. Understood? These are the points related to what? Constructors. Yeah, these are the points related to constructors. So write all this. This can be used. You will not understand. Tomorrow when I give you examples, you'll understand all this. Understood? Tomorrow when I give you examples, you'll understand all these points. Yeah? Okay then. Any questions for the day? No? Fine. Done.